Yes, welcome to another episode of Premier League Overtime. It's great to have your company here on the show once again. Sam Tugwell here on the desk, of course, and alongside me, as he is each and every week, is Doug McDonald-Taylor. Welcome to the show again, mate.
Thanks, Sam, and a big show ahead. We've got all the games and not to mention a couple of upsets at the top of the table, a couple of big signings to talk about during the week, and another good guest on.
Absolutely, you've summed it up perfectly there, mate. So much to go through today, so we're going to get through them nice and quickly, but of course on the desk, as we welcome straight off the top of the show, is a very talented young man from the Sturt Sabres Basketball Club at the moment. He's doing some fantastic things, and we welcome him to Premier League Overtime. It is Isaac White. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on, mate. We'll chat to you very shortly about all the weekend's proceedings and everything else, of course, that's going on in your basketballing career. But first up, round 11 has been won and run, and we're going to take a look at some of the results from the weekend and there across all the games there and all the stadiums. And you can see the Eagles, the Sabres and Bearcats all scoring some wins in the men's and women's, which is very, very good for them. The women's in the Sturt side, they just demolished the Central Lions up at Starplex, so another big win then, of course, for Sturt, and that's going to go a long way for them as well on the ladder. West continuing to stay in touch with wins against the Mavs as well. Some big stuff there, of course, but I guess the main point, which I guess we'll get to first here, Doug, is a couple of huge upsets between the Southern Tigers and the Norwood Flames, if I can spit that one out, being beaten on the same night, the two undefeated teams. That's all down in the bin now. It's all on for everyone now.
Oh yes, it's a couple of upsets. Look, Southern had four massive contributors. Cunningham had 19 and 6. Molly McKendrick, 17 points and 9 boards. And Tara Robinson, a good Premier League overtime friend here, had 15 points, 11 boards, and Fawcett had 13 points as well. Look, Norwood, no Jess Good and no Steph Talbot, but you can only beat who rocks up, Sam, and the Tigers have got the win. They had a 25-11 point last term to come over the top of them, and they managed to keep Jess Foley quiet as well, and that was probably the difference in the end, and that is a huge win they've got, and it's a win that most of the rest of the league's not going to get, so they've got one up there. First
loss since the 2014 preliminary final there for the Norwood Flames. And how about this? Their lowest score since the 2011 grand final. That's 5 years worth of basketball right there. That's how good they've been over such a long stretch of time, that women's side. Phenomenal sort of result to just come out of the blue like that.
Yeah, that's a long time to have a low score, Sam. Yeah, great effort by the Southern girls. You know, they took a while to get going throughout the year, but they've really hit their straps. They're getting more contributors across the board. They're clearly playing some good team basketball, and a lot of players in double figures every week, and they're getting it done. And they're sitting, they're second on the ladder and looking good.
Well, at the moment, yeah, the Tigers in that state, fourth. It's quite phenomenal. So we'll talk about that, why they are at the moment, a little later on. But let's cross on over to the men's game. Of course, the Southern Tigers and Norwood there as well. And Norwood just came out to play and gave the Tigers a good shove. And now their undefeated run is also over.
Yeah. Look, it's been a great doubleheader. Lysa had a quiet game last week, so he needed to bounce back, and he has 26 points and 10 boards, with Jacob Holmes having 18 points and 11 himself. Starling did his best with 29-16, and Cody Ellison had his best game for the Tigers with 13 points and 9 boards. But Sam Johns was kept quiet. No Mitch Creek.
Yeah.
So obviously a huge out there. Once again, though, you can only beat who rocks up, and Norwood, Woodville and Tigers have all sort of beaten each other in the last 3 weeks. We're pretty lucky to have the trio up the top of the table. They can clearly beat each other on any given night. And I can't wait actually for finals, but we're still so far away.
It's a long way away. We're at the halfway point. I'm just quickly across to Isaac here, mate. You would have come across both the Southern Tigers and Norwood sides now.
Yes.
What sort of things did you get out of playing those teams? Because they're quite elite.
Yeah, I don't know. You just you learn that your mistakes that can be unforgivable, and they compile. If you get a couple of turnovers in a row, they get easy points in transition and really make you pay on the scoreboard. So you just got to value every possession and make sure you execute, really.
They're two very, very talented sides, and yours isn't too far away either, but of course we'll get to that in a moment's time, because we better talk about North Adelaide as they took on the Woodville Warriors there at Hillcrest, and the men for the Woodville Warriors are doing some great things at the moment. They stomped over North Adelaide with their 8th win of the season, 90-70. Fairly comprehensive win against the side who are around the mark.
Yeah, North are around the mark, although they've been struggling of late. But Woodville keep on rolling. 90 points. They've kept North to 70. And the big three again, Kirksey, Ing and Stanbridge, they're a tough trio to stop. And they're going to take those three guys on the back of them. They're going to go deep into the finals. Cody Rohrer, the point guard, he had one of his best games for the year. And Luke Pike chipped in with 14. But a 26-9 first quarter, Sam, and a 51-27 first half. Look, the game was over at half time. North were never going to come back against such an elite lineup. So another big win for the Warriors. And North are still in the comp. There's still a chance for the finals, but they need to turn it around pretty quick. They could be out of it in a couple of weeks if they don't get a couple of good wins. Yeah,
they're 4-7 currently. So, I mean, that just basically says, if they don't win now, things are going to look very, very dark late in the season. They're going to have to do a pretty big, miraculous sort of stretch of wins toward the back end. So tough work for them if they want to get into that finals contention. But hey, Woodville's women, it's not quite looking as bright there for them as they go down in almost another margin of their own score, 42-77. The Rockets absolutely romped them. Good news for North though, they're back on the winners list after going down to West the week before. But Shannon Mackay had a fantastic game with 18 points there and getting them across the line.
Yeah, Shannon's having a fantastic year, and not only 18 points, she had 5 boards, 4 assists and 4 steals, so she was doing it all, but well complemented by Jo Hill, Sarah Ellsworthy and Kirsty Williams probably had one of her better games too. But this Woodville team, I think they've joined Central's Eastern and South, and I don't think they're going to play finals, Sam. They can't get a big enough score. 42 points at senior level isn't good enough, and they've done it a few times now. Tavasha Scott is doing her best, but there's just not enough help there. Scorers just don't grow on trees, and they just don't have enough firepower, Sam. So I think they're in big trouble. They can't score enough points. Their defence is pretty good, but it's not enough. And even though they're 4-7 and still within striking distance, I'm calling it early, Sam. I think they're done.
It's probably a fair call as well. An assessment right now that Woodville really need to take into account, you would have thought, if they really want to stay serious this season. But of course, a lot of rounds to go, so a lot of things can happen. But we're going to get on to some really good news here for one of the players of the Premier League, one of your good mates, our mates here on the show, I guess. We had him on not too long ago. Adam Doyle from the Forestville Eagles has found himself in an 11-man squad for the Adelaide 36ers coming up next season, which is great news. Averaging 22 points a game this season at 40%. I guess, that sort of stuff is well rewarded.
Oh, definitely. Look, Adam Doyle is a fantastic guy. He's a great character and a fantastic basketballer. This has come, with his knee, doing his knee, sort of 18 months ago. I think this has happened later than it probably would have. But it's happened now, and he's certainly deserved of it. This is a guy that couldn't make Div 1 in under 18, Sam, so he's a great role model. He's a fantastic example for young basketballers out there who might not be playing where they want to be playing as a young guy, but he's worked really hard in his game, and he listens to people who have knowledge, and he's been able to surround himself with really good basketball people, and he has turned himself into a fantastic player, and he's a fantastic point guard. He's the best point guard in the league, and he will fit into that roster really well, and I expect him to play some time and do well. So well done to Adam Doyle, much deserved there, mate. So well done.
Best of luck to him, of course, as he still continues playing throughout the Premier League this season, but he gets to line up, of course, over the summer with the Sixers as well here in the NBL. So a fantastic achievement for him as he continues his way up and up through the ranks. But hey, he'll also line up with in that Sixers side one of the players who's going to join Isaac in the Sturt Sabres lineup here in the Premier League, starting from this round. Daniel Johnson, who are Adelaide 36er as well. He's decided to add himself to the Sturt Sabres men's list for the remainder of the season. So Isaac, I guess something to chat about here. This is great news for your club.
Yeah, absolutely. Very excited to have him. He's obviously a very talented player. Raises the standard at trainings as well as obviously will bring a lot during the game. So very excited, yeah.
And of course, we know a fair bit about him. His form in the 36ers side is always, it's fantastic. He's in the side for a good reason. But how good is it to have a player like him in the Premier League?
Oh, fantastic. And he's played before, and he's been a star in the Premier League. But this is huge for Sturt. I mean, they're sitting fifth, but they're definitely in that second tier. But this puts them right up with the top three teams. They are now in contention. I thought out of the five, they were probably the ones where teams were going to try and overtake to make the finals. But they're going to make it now. They'll go on to play finals, and they will challenge the top three teams. So we have four big teams there now, and it's exciting. Daniel Johnson is a quality player, and you throw in Jon Warbout and Tim Claassen. That's as good as front court as what the top three teams have, Sam. So, look, it's exciting. Another great team in the mix, another great player. It's fantastic for the league.
Absolutely brilliant, and Sturt will be very pleased with that. But you guys, of course, came up with a 26-point win over them on the weekend up at Starplex over Centrals. Run us through that one there.
Obviously happy to get a bit of a streak going, 3 games now. So we came out hard pretty early. We shot the ball at a pretty good percentage all game, especially from the perimeter. We defended hard when we needed to, and got a little ugly at the end. A lot of hard fouls and stuff like that, but we're happy. Good, convincing win. And
yourself, you're only 17 years old, mate. So, and you're in your first season of playing in the Premier League competition. Have you been enjoying your time playing in the top league?
Oh, it's great. I'm loving it. Very thankful for the opportunity from the coaching staff, my team, and stuff like that. It's always great to be challenged, especially physically, and understand what it takes to play at the next level.
You're shooting at 58 points from the 58% from the field at the moment this year. 14 points a game. That must be pretty good for your standards at the moment.
I am happy with that, but ultimately, again, I got to thank the system and my teammates for getting me in the right spots when I need to be. So, my success is due to them, I guess.
And one of your strengths has been three-point shooting, I guess, throughout your junior career and now into the Premier League. And that's also been impressive at the top league and shooting at 48% from behind the arc as well. But I guess, walking into the top league like the Premier League at your age, I'm sure there's plenty of nerves as you step out on the court against some of the best point guards, I guess, out there. Does it take a fair bit of confidence for you to start chucking up those long bombs?
I guess so. Especially at the start of the season, I was very new to it all. You just got to trust the work you do off the court and hopefully hope it correlates to when you get on. And I guess it has a bit, but again, that's just when you're in the moment of the game. I guess those nerves fall away a bit.
There's a fair bit of work that goes into having that sort of confidence, and I know one of your strengths, mate, is work and work ethic, and that's something that you prioritise quite highly in your life, and you work really hard outside of, off the training court to, make yourself as good as you can possibly be. Run us through maybe like a bit of a daily sort of life for you, because you seem to get up pretty early to practice.
Yeah, I guess trying to balance year 12 and stuff like that, I find it's most effective to get up, try and work out before school. So I get down to the gym by 6, lift some weights for an hour, get on the court for an hour and a bit, and then make my way to school. And then I'll, do a bit of homework after school, and then I'll have a game or another practice for Sturt, something like that. So that's basically it.
Absolutely brilliant. How's that commitment going out to the gym and even having a few shots early before you even go to school?
Yeah, look, definitely, and that's what it takes if you want to make it, and that's the sort of stuff that Adam Doyle was doing as well. He was doing morning sessions and afternoon sessions in his own time. So good on you, mate.
And even your brother, mate, Sam White, another large reason why you developed the love for the sport of basketball. Tell us a little bit about his sort of influence.
Oh well. I guess he built a competitive nature within me. Backyard battles was quite common, got to be ugly, I guess, sometimes, but ultimately that competitive drive I have is due to him. He kind of taught me that, especially at our size in this game, you're going to have to work for everything if you want to make it to a higher level. So I guess I owe that to him.
and competitive nature. It doesn't just drift into the sport of basketball. You also used to represent the state in more than just that. You played cricket and football as well at quite a high level. How did you choose basketball out of all those sports that you get to choose from that you're so talented in?
I guess it came down. There was a definitive moment. I got quite sick. I can't remember what I had, but I got sick for about a week and a half. So I just watched a bit of YouTube. Came across Jeremy Lin. And I don't know, that inspired me to just, pick basketball, I guess. But it was at that point in my career, I guess, where I had to make a choice. But I just find there's so much to work on, so many challenges in this sport. So that's what attracts me to it.
A little bit of insanity there, Doug. You just get you inspired for some basketball.
Yeah, it's a good story, and looking forward to seeing you develop. What do you think has been the biggest step from juniors to seniors? Because there's obviously bigger bodies, but what's been the major difference?
The tempo of the game, it's a lot quicker. Transitions, next level, especially compared to juniors. And then physicality, definitely. If you get out of position, I've found certain times if you're out of position, you can get exploited for that. Guys can find ways to use their strength and their body to get some buckets on you. So defensively, it's just making sure you're switched on, getting in the right spot to the right times.
And you're right. You mentioned it earlier, like especially against the top teams, like crucial turnovers will punish you. Like you can 2 or 3 of them in a row, and all of a sudden you're 10 down. So it probably doesn't happen as much in juniors because it isn't as quick and the quality isn't quite there. But what's the feeling around the group now with Johnson coming in? Is there a feeling? Have you talked about it? Like, are you looking at championship? Is that your goal this year?
I guess we always have been. We like to emphasise that we run 16 deep no matter what. So obviously Johnson's a great addition to our group, but we've always had the faith that if we stick to our system, work hard on and off the court, and trust our process, that ultimately we should be all right. And we feel as though we could challenge those top teams, even though we might not have shown it in previous weeks. We're working towards something bigger, so we're always working towards that, and we do have that faith, yeah.
It's going to be a great second half to the year, Sam. I'm looking forward to some good matchups coming up.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sturt are right in it now with that sort of addition. I guess we'll take a look at some of the ladders there with the men's up first, and Southern Tigers, notably their first loss of the season, now brings that gap between first and second to 1 game. So all they need is another slip up, and Norwood could quite find themselves on top of the table. But percentage at the moment is the only difference. There's about 15% between those two. The gap between 5th and 6th now, though, starting to just change up a little bit. There's a bit more of a gap there. 2 games there between West and Sturt. But of course, no changes across the board, though, as the men's competition stays relatively the same. But as we look at the women's, very interesting. I guess Southern Tigers get that huge win against Norwood and slide down 1 spot. How weird is that?
Yeah, look, I thought they were second, Sam. So, look, it's a really good competition in the women's. It's very tight. Up the top end, there's six quality teams there. I think Woodville's dropped off, so we'll call it 6 now. But Westies are playing some great basketball, and they're outside the 5.
Yeah, so they're hanging around, aren't they?
They're hanging around. Sturt's playing good. And Forestville has probably been the surprise packet, only losing 2 games this year. We knew they'd improve with the additions with Olivia Thompson, but to go 9-2, that's a fantastic effort. So, some good basketball there to be played too.
Yeah, that's it. Across the competition, very, very competitive, especially in that women's right now. It really is looking pretty good. But yeah, like you said, West with a winning record and they're still outside of the 5. So they're going to be interesting to watch, as are a lot of those teams. And I guess the Sturt Sabres in the men's too is going to be brilliant to watch in the coming weeks. And their game coming up this weekend is against the Forestville Eagles as we take a look at round 12. They, of course, are down at Woodville, so that one coming up on Saturday, as are the others. West take on Centrals, Norwood take on South, Woodville take on Eastern. And this one I'm just going to quickly point out a little bit more is the Southern Tigers and North Adelaide Rockets. They've got themselves a Beyond Blue fundraiser night coming up this weekend on Saturday night. So specially designed singlets will be worn to commemorate the occasion, I guess. And that's going to be a very special night down there at the Tiger Cage at South Adelaide. Southern Tigers, of course, the Tiger Cage. And they'll all be auctioned off, those singlets, of course, online on their website as well. So
fantastic.
They'll be basically bringing in some really nice money to support the foundation there, Beyond Blue, for the Southern Tigers and North Adelaide Rockets on Saturday night at Morphett Vale. So there you go, just a little something else to entice you to come on down to the games. But guys, I guess that's a wrap here for the show. Premier League overtime. We're pretty much done and dusted here, mate. Isaac, thank you so much for coming on the show, mate, and letting us into some insight.
Thank you.
Mate.
Brilliant to have you on, mate. And Doug, as always, buddy, great to have you.
Should we talk about the NBA? Can we talk about the NBA?
Why
Just quickly
not?
before we go.
Absolutely, mate.
With Golden State winning today, who's your pick, mate, for the 7-game series coming up?
Yeah, Warriors. I have to go with Warriors.
Yourself?
I'm going Warriors, I reckon, as well. Big time.
I think my Cavs are going to struggle. I'm going to go Warriors as well. So, but looking forward to that, and then we might talk about a bit about the games next week.
Oh, we'll
hopefully.
definitely bring that up next week, of course, after we talk about Premier League, because that's our priority here on Premier League overtime. It's not quite NBA overtime just yet, but we'll get there. Hey, thank you for tuning in once again this week, and we'll be back next week with more on the Premier League next week on Overtime. Bye for now.